you are currently working on a special project.
Let me correct you. She's working on a couple of cool projects.
I believe it. I believe it.
Thank you.
I'm aware of one because I've been following it on Instagram.
Yes.
I've been following on TikTok. I hope we're talking about the same one.
Well, I would hope so.
Yes. Okay. So I'll start from the beginning. So you know how the music that grabs you in junior high school just becomes so nostalgic and you expand and you learn about more music. But for some reason, that music that you discover when you're young, it always has the most precious hold on your heart.
Oh, for sure.
Right?
Yeah, definitely.
Always. So I don't know what
Caleb
that was
says
for
Britney
you guys.
Spears.
Britney Spears for Caleb. What about for you?
Adele.
Adele, sure.
But that wasn't when I was young.
No, Adele was just amazing.
I think of like high school and
still
like
is.
stuff. That is someone who I always jammed out to. But I mean, if we were going younger, I mean, there's others, but I can't think right now.
Just whatever you fall in love with in junior high school, it has such a profound hold on you.
I like how you just stuck with Britney Spears. And
you didn't contradict you at all.
I'm not.
Not going to touch that one. For me, it was classic rock. Yeah. And I remember being in my dad's car. I was just in the back seat. And back then, kids, we had CDs.
I thought you were going to say like cassette tapes.
No, it was by the time I was in junior high, my dad had this really huge stack of CDs. It was like one of those big cases that could hold hundreds of CDs. And it was just when we were in the car, it would be like whatever was in the rotation in the car. And one day he puts on a Heart CD. It's their 1985 album, self-titled, just the Heart album. And the first song plays, and it's the song called If Looks Could Kill. And it starts to play, and it's rock, big classic rock, huge sound, but she's doing runs and stuff, belting really high, doing runs, which is more of an R&B thing. And so I'm listening, I'm 13, and I'm like, who the fuck is this? I became obsessed with this band. So I stole my dad's Walkman, and I would put the Walkman on and play their CD with like me and my little headphones and my little Walkman. I would play their CD over and over and over and over again. And ever since then, I'm now 32. So it's been obviously a long time. I've been studying this woman, taking in her voice, and I've been saying to people for years, you know how they're making a biopic about everybody these days? Bohemian Rhapsody, Elton John gets a biopic, Elvis gets a biopic. They need to make one about heart. And I have to play Ann Wilson, the lead singer. So I'm saying this to people, speaking of sharing your dreams. I'm saying this out loud to people. And this one guy at this party in LA pulls out IMDb on his phone and says, look, they're trying to make this happen for real.
Interesting.
There's a real biopic trying to get made about this band, Heart. And so that was the first time I became aware this is a real thing that's happening. So I was in a pivot this summer and decided to just do a deep dive. So I read their autobiography. I listened to it all on audiobook within one day, just inhaled their whole life story, which is amazing. It was a lot to take in. And then I read a physical copy of their book. And somewhere halfway, I discovered this pivot point that I thought could make a really great short film.
Okay.
So Chris and I, my husband and I, executive produced it. We scrounged up all of our money, went through a whole process to access more funds. And I called this director that I've been working with. Her name is Michelle Salcedo. And I pitched her this idea and she said, yeah, let's do it.
That's
so
awesome.
We scouted locations. I wrote a script that I adapted from their autobiography. And I'm acting in it. I'm singing live. I wrote a scene that could showcase me as a singer and actor kind of all in one. And then we made this movie. It was crazy. I have a co-star. There was a whole team all around doing the cinematography, doing the audio. It was an amazing experience. And I have an edit of it now. We are now in post-production. And because I'm a scoring artist and I do music, that's usually what I have been doing for this particular director. I'm now scoring my own movie that I've created. That is
incredible.
So it's just a lot. I wrote the script. I'm acting, starring in it, executive produced it, galvanized the team, and now finally I am providing the underscore, doing all the music, finalizing that this week.
Well, and that is first off, I mean, to imagining that coming out when the finished product is fully done, because you already got an edit, and how proud you must feel, just because that is incredible to do all of that. I have seen a few clips. One that intrigued me is you even spent time, and I correct me if I'm wrong, but with a vocal coach to kind of sound more like Anne.
It was my friend Adam, who is a teacher and also just a brilliant musician, and he's in the movie with me as my pianist.
Okay.
And so we were listening really carefully to her voice and the difference between how I would sing it naturally and how she would sing it.
Yeah.
And it's just a slightly different placement. And I was asking him, help coach me on how to sound exactly like her, because I need to nail it. I want to just knock it out of the park. And that was super cool to have his help and to have him be present that day on set. He was amazing. And I can't remember what I was going to say, but yeah, it was super cool. And so this is me creating sort of like a really expensive audition. It's going to be a 9-minute short film that I'm hoping to get to this team that's making the bigger biopic through Amazon. Yeah. So I'm hoping to get it to Carrie Brownstein, who is supposedly the director-writer for that project, and then Anne and Nancy Wilson, who are the main sisters in the band and would have to sign off on any cast. That's all I know, you guys. That's for all I know.
And I know you've been posting, some content out there on Instagram, TikTok. That's what we've been seeing.
Yeah.
And I've seen you tag them as well. Have you gotten any
traction
yet?
No feedback yet, but I'm really excited to have the fully fleshed out
and that's going to be the biggest part. Yeah.
That's going to be really exciting to start sharing once we have the movie, because then I can send it to them in a more official way.
Yeah.
Hopefully make contact, and then they can see me in this role as Anne Wilson.
Hopefully see herself.
Absolutely. But I was driving on the freeway and I swelled up with gratitude to the point where I was almost crying, where I realized I am truly living my dream.
That's incredible.
By pulling this together. I am playing Anne Wilson. I'm doing the underscore, which is really exciting for me. It's the funnest part for me. And just realizing I created this moment. I created this dream project.
Yeah.
And I almost I'm feeling a little bit lighter about what happens next.
Yeah.
Because when you create your dream, you don't have to depend on anyone else to give you permission to do your thing. You're just going for it.
Yeah.